All right, let's take a look here at CNCF projects. So projects are technologies and they are managed by the CNCF. So many CNCF projects are developed by external tech companies and then are handed over to the CNCF for long-term support. And you can access all these projects at cncf.io/projects. And projects are categorized based on their maturity level. And I'm pretty sure you need to know that for the exam. So here they have this diagram here that kind of shows some information. And this is actually based off a diagram from a book. But let's go through the different categories. So we have graduated, meaning it's production ready for enterprises. Incubating, so this is where the APIs might be rapidly changing. And you may have incomplete, they may be incomplete to be adopted by large enterprises, but they are totally fine for smaller companies. Then you have sandbox, so experimental prototypes, and I would not bet that these would pass the security review. So, there are so many sandbox projects, they're just not listed on the website. And the maturity level, again, is based off of this book called Crossing the Chasm, which is a diagram in the book from 1991. I don't particularly care for it. I'm not really sure why they use this model. Like, I don't know if it's like to try to sell more of those books or somebody in particular liked it and thought, yeah, that's a good framework to use. But it's fine. I mean, I would just prefer it being like stable or, release candidate or something like that. But that's how they name them. So there's that. But let's talk a little bit more about sandboxes. So if, let's say, you wanted to find sandbox projects, because I just said that they're not on the main website, but they are in the landscape. So what you can do is go to CNCF Projects and then checkbox there, and that's the way you can see them. Now, all these projects go through different kinds of life cycles, and so it might be worth to take a look at the different life cycles. So here I have project stages, and this is from the documentation for CNCF projects right from their website. So the idea is we have a sandbox. So these are experimental neutral collaborations. And here they're suggesting like they're low barrier, low reward. And so, you might not want to adopt them. Then they have this significant barrier. So this is where the majority of development happens. I think that's what they're saying there. And then from incubation, they say the obvious path. So incubation to graduation. Not a lot of descriptions around this stuff, but you kind of get an idea where things are flowing, and that some things just completely skip over the sandbox section and go straight to incubation. And all of these have even more detailed information. So when we look at the sandbox process, the idea is that there is a project proposal that is in the case of a GitHub issue. The technical committee will triage it and give it a brief, request a SIG. The SIGs will make a presentation that is recorded. The presentation slides and recording completed recommendation template. And then the TOC will review recommendation and presentation. And then it will be in Sandbox. So 3 TOC sponsors to the step forward. So that's how we get to that. Then there's the incubation process. So you have a project proposal, and it goes to special interest groups again, makes a presentation. Whether it's recommendation, they do their due diligence with tech and governance user interviews. And then here we have another review with another presentation. The TOC vote on it, and it makes it into incubation. So you can see there's a lot there. I don't think there was one for graduated. There probably is a process, but I didn't see one, because if there was, I'd have it here. But that's that there. So there's at least one graduated CNCF project generally for each cloud native category, and that's just something that I observed. And that kind of makes sense, because like, how do these categories exist, if they don't have it? So we're looking at things that are graduated, so like container, runtime containerd, core DNS, Envoy, etcd, FluentD, Harbor, Helm, Jaeger. I think it's pronounced Jaeger, like the J's, the Y, Kubernetes, Linkerd, Open Policy Agent, Prometheus, the update framework, so Tough, Rook, and TeakV, and Vitis, or Vitus. Lots of names I've never had to say out loud before, so hopefully I got them all right. But there are a lot of really good incubating projects that I'd strongly recommend using, so I don't think that should be a discouragement. But this is really for, like, if you're a large organization, like huge enterprise, then you're probably going to gravitate towards these projects, okay?